because, you know, growing up with black moms, they don't really get into.
They be like, go to church
Or take a nap. Or take a nap.
Take a nap.
Take a nap.
Take
honey.
a nap. We'll take a nap is. We'll
I'm like,
save
take a
it.
nap ain't gonna pay this rent, baby. I'm gonna wake up and they still gonna put that note on my door.
Tony's a cute, my love is pure. Tony's a cute, my love is pure.
Show your love for Taquita Love. Comedy is pure.
I finally got you,
Wow.
girl. It'd be
It's
hard
here.
to get you because
You think so?
Yeah, you out here. You making moves.
I be grinding.
You are making moves.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, it's a Chicago hustle.
It is, but you like that's probably why I be tired. And everybody like, you don't ever be outside.
Girl, I'll be the same way. I'll be at
house.
work, then in the comedy streets.
I'm getting old now too. Like, as soon as I sit on my couch and I see
It's
the
a wrap.
blanket, I'll be like, we here.
If I
baby.
take my wig off,
Listen, don't put your bonnet on.
girl,
Don't put your bonnet
take
on.
the wig off
honey.
in the car.
You're so
Be like,
stupid.
I'm not going.
Yeah, I don't be outside like that.
But you're here,
here,
finally.
yes.
Girl, so I met you in the comedy streets of
Yes.
LA.
Yes.
I heard of you. We didn't know each other.
We didn't for like a
And
long time too.
A long time. I think you and Brandy Denise had worked together when you did
We
Corner
did.
Store Charles.
Yes.
And that's when I met you. That's when I was introduced to you.
I don't remember. Was it? Because I might have been.
Not-
She lived downtown. I think at the
I was
time.
introduced to your work, not
Okay.
necessarily
Yes.
you.
Because I feel like we met at a show we had together in Hollywood with Megan Sousa.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was her lit show.
Yes.
Shout out Megan Sousa.
That was like back. They've been doing that forever. Yeah, shout
Girl,
out
and
Megan
that's
Sousa.
when we connected. And it was like, you from Chicago? I'm from
I
Chicago.
know, which was
and it was
crazy.
like, why we don't know each other?
Again, I don't never be outside. I would do. That's been my steez. I would do my shows. And I would just go home and like it was so funny because Tahir Moore told me he was like in the beginning I didn't really like your ass because you would always like leave and never talk to nobody.
That's a Chicago woman thing.
And I was
People
like,
be
bye everybody. I'm like, I'm just really introverted. I
Yeah.
don't really, I don't know. I have my moments when I want to be outside.
yeah, but then when you get on stage, you be like, I'm not an introvert.
Oh my God, not
sis.
at all.
I actually
Not at all. It's like,
Since I'm from Chicago, I did some research on you.
yeah.
Not research, but my cousin knew you from working at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yes.
And he
Because
was
I
like,
worked at
yeah.
Grand Lux.
She was like, she was funny as hell. And I'm just like, then we became friends.
Yes.
Slowly over time, you helped me host my show at UCB.
That was great. Bring that back.
I'm trying. You know how it be.
I
You know.
Did they close?
They closed and they reopened and then they reset and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But you helped me co-host and I think that's when we vibed.
Yes.
That's when we were just like,
Because
yo.
everybody says that. They're like, and then when I got to know you, I was like, I'm cool as fuck. I just be real quiet. I don't be really like.
Yeah. I had a day
No.
where somebody couldn't host and I called you and I'm like, I need a sister. Like,
I got
and
you,
from
bro.
that point
down
on,
the street from the house.
from that point on, we've been cool.
Yes.
We've been just like, I don't know. Is it
I think
four
that's
plus
good
down?
because in LA, I feel like you don't really see a lot of like comedians like be really linking up like that
Yeah.
and being tight, like especially out of the women.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you don't really see like all the women by linking up like the guys
It's
do.
like,
So
yeah, like help me fix my crown. Like, yeah, clean.
I
Put
was
your
just
crown
out
on. Put your
with
crown on.
Monica. Damn, I don't know her last name.
Boyd.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, I couldn't think of
Oh,
it.
don't-
And I was
oh.
just, we were just talking about, I was like, I have my like favorites.
So Monica Boyd is a casting director that we both met through Revolt TV. There was a comedy show, a comedy taping. What was the name of it? You remember?
Well, I only did the Revolt one. I don't know which other one.
It was
she's
the
doing.
Revolt. So the thing about that, you mentioned Monica Boyd. I taped, but my comedy segment did not air.
Really?
Yes, it didn't air. So that was my first.
How did they just were choosing?
They didn't. Maybe they didn't like my set, or it wasn't strong. I don't know. But
Was that the first season?
That was the first season.
Okay, I came in
and
the second season.
My set did not make it, and that was my introduction to Hollywood. It was like, okay, you think you
honey.
somewhere, but then we messing with you, but we not.
When did you move here?
I moved here about 16 years ago.
Oh, you've been here 16 years?
14.
14?
Yeah. But I want to talk about your journey as a stand-up comedian because, like I said, I did some research. I met you, and then it was like we became friends, shopping buddies. We talk about dudes all the time. Yeah. But
Get me started.
your comedy journey, like where you started, and
It's a weird story because this wasn't the plan. This was not the plan
course.
at all. Like I never even thought about it. But I was, if you really think back to like your surroundings and your journey, like I was always around other comedians. Like being in Chicago, My cousin was an entertainer, and she went to high school with D-Ray.
Oh.
And so...
What's your cousin's name?
Selena Johnson.
Oh, okay. Hey, shout out Selena
So
Johnson.
I was
with the
always
beautiful
around
voice.
her, and she was always around them. So I would be around D-Ray. I would go to all his shows and stuff in there, and then I met Real and all. So I was in that circle.
Yeah.
And then I grew up down the street. I'm very close friends with Kelly Howard.
Okay, I love Kelly
We've
Howard.
known each other since
Chicago
fourth
queen.
grade. No one and so I was around her. So when she would come to LA all the time, she would always stay with me, and then we would go out and kick it. I would just follow her around.
Okay.
So I would kind of see the world, but I moved here as a model.
Of course, because I saw your ad.
I was in a whole bunch of shit in Chicago where I was just doing Kohl's and like.
Good, look at you. You
all
like
the
a
little
black
corny-
Barbie. Hey,
I was doing all the corny little catalog stuff in Chicago, and my journey to LA was just. My agent at the time was like, because the seasons move with modeling. Like when it gets cold in Chicago, everybody starts doing the summer clothes. So she would always ship me off to either like Miami or wherever it was warm. And that particular season, she was like, "Do you want to try LA?"
Okay.
And they sent me to an agency called, I think it was Bloom Model Management or something. And the guy I was dating at the time had just got a job in LA.
Okay, so
So
it
he
worked
was
out.
like, "Let's go." So I kind of went with him, and I was just modeling while I was here. I'm currently still with LA Models. I still work with them.
Okay, come on, Barbie.
And
Come on, Black Barbie.
I was doing that, and then again, like her, like your cousin was like, people were like, I was funny. So while I was modeling, my modeling agent was like, "You should, do UCB and stuff like that." And I was like, "Oh, I did all that in Chicago. Like I did like Second City a little bit. Like I wasn't in it, but I like did some classes or whatever."
Okay.
But then when I got in pretty heavy at UCB here in LA, this never happens. But my instructor was like, "You really need to tap into the stand-up world." And I was like, "No, I don't." He was like, "No, I really think, because you do the like graduation class. And then our graduation class, they had like picked one person to do a monologue to come up with whatever the show was going to be about. And everybody picked me. And the story I told, everybody was like, "Bitch, you need to do this." And I was like, and so for years, I still didn't do it though. Like after that class and we did the graduating class, I just kept modeling. And then people kept saying it. And like, I don't know if it was God, the universe, but it just kept falling in my lap. Like people kept on being like, "You should do this." So I finally went to an open mic. And it was working out. And I was like, okay, I like this little vibe. So I stayed, honestly, in the open mic scene and didn't get booked in LA probably for like a year.
Okay.
And then I can't remember her name, and I should, but I'm horrible with names because she's pretty big now. But I ran into her at UCB again, and she was like, "You should be a writer for the CBS Diversity Showcase."
Okay.
And I was like, I've never written before. And she was like, "They will take you. Your ass is the stories you come up with." And they did. And so I ended up writing for the the CBS Diversity Showcase in 2015. And then this shit started popping off really fast.
The doors just opened, huh?
And like I was in there, and then like all the people at CBS was like, "You need to do stand up. You need to stand up." And then I had never booked a professional show, and like one of the guys from CBS was like, "Well, open up for," I think it was Mikey Winfield. Is his name?
I know, yeah, with the big hair.
Yes. They were like, he's looking
hair.
for somebody to open for him at Flappers in the main room for like New Year's Eve. And all I had was my little 5 minutes I was working on at my open mics, but I did that, and after that, everybody was like, "Yo,"
Yeah.
and I just kept getting booked. And at that point,
And it hasn't stopped because you everywhere. Everywhere I look, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, improv.
it was crazy.
Everywhere. It's like your name, like Fatimah Taliah.
And it wasn't an intimidating thing for me though in the beginning, because you know how it is in comedy, especially with black people. It was like, who you ain't never gonna pop up out of nowhere.
No, but
they was definitely giving me like the hazing smoke.
I mean, that's just a part of the journey.
Because I had booked True TV's my Laugh Tracks very early in my career. Like,
but your stories are funny. You girl.
Thank you. But that was like 2-3 years of comedy. And I was around like Ada Rodriguez and like, it was huge names. And I was in there like, woo, child, you only got like 10 minutes tops. Like,
girl, fast forward, you have a comedy special on Amazon.
Thank you. I did that.
And you're on, can we talk about the TV show you on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can talk about it now.
You are on a TV show now. It's coming out soon. Tell us about that.
I don't know when our release date is because of the weather. We got pushed back. But our last day of shooting is this week.
And the name of the show?
I'm on season 2 of Killing It with Greg Robinson.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so happy about that.
I'm happy too because, girl, you've been grinding.
That's my end goal. That literally has always been my end goal. I've always wanted to be on television and do a comedy sitcom or a comedy show. Like,
so now that you've reached that, then what's next? Like you got to your end goal.
you know, I've learned a lot in the last couple years about this business. That's my end goal, but like Hollywood really does decide.
Of course.
So for me, after the show ends, I go back to, you know, auditioning and everything again. So for me, I feel like I'm going to start working on my own project.
Yes.
And trying to work on what I could start pitching for my own TV show, like down the road of Issa Rae-ish life. So I have a few of my really great friends that I've written with at CBS that we all stay friends, like me and Shawnee Chris.
Shawnee's coming here today.
Oh my God, like that's my boy.
He'll be here at 11, I think.
What? Yeah, we shot a pilot together. I shot his pilot he had.
Shawnee and I met at Second City.
Okay,
and
yes.
I was like when I started in stand-up, I wasn't a stand-up comedian at first. It was just straight nursing. I came to LA as a travel nurse.
Okay.
And then I took a class at Second City because I was very introverted. I was not cool at all. I was a nerd growing up. I was the nerd. And I met Shawnee.
I was a nerd, but I had a lot on my mind. I was definitely saying shit.
No, I was just 100% nerd.
Oh.
I think that's probably Christina coming.
Oh, okay. I was like, somebody phone.
Yeah, I think that's the. But anyway, we can keep it. So I met Shawnee, and I met a bunch of, we call it the Black Pack, like improvisers, sketch writers. I did Second City's program, their improv program, sketch program. I did conservatory.
Oh, you did
I did conservatory. We produced our own show. Then I went over to UCB. At UCB, I did sketch. I did improv. And then, like you, my monologues made me stand out. Nobody like, your characters. Nobody was
same.
Like, they weren't messing with my acting, my characters. They was like, your stories. Yeah. And from that, like when I would do my monologues, that's when I would shine. That's when I would get it would be the stories. And speaking of stories, you know, I'm a nurse, and we talk about medical mishaps or anything in the medical field. So, do you have any stories?
I'm sick in the head.
Okay, that's it. Look, girl, we got the same diagnosis.
No, I'm joking.
We got the same diagnosis. Girl, why? What is it?
Anytime you move to LA, you not stable.
No, mentally.
No,
girl, say sick in the head.
I was joking. Well, no, I'm really into mental health though. That is one of my things that I really want to be an advocate for, because I feel like within this business and in the Black community, I don't think a lot of people talk about it. So I definitely am very, like, that is like a big thing for me to always stay in therapy.
Okay.
And to always figure out ways to keep myself in a good, safe, sanity place while I'm pursuing this journey. So, yeah.
I feel like, okay, so this is the thing. Therapy, I feel like it's necessary, but I didn't realize it was necessary until I needed it. It was just like,
everybody
you be looking like Shaquille Sunflower off Martin.
Yeah.
When that happened, that's when it's time for you.
It can happen to anybody. Like one of the things I was talking to my mother about recently, because you know, growing up with Black moms, they don't really get into.
They be like, go to church
or take a nap or take a nap.
Take a nap.
Take a nap.
Take a nap. Will take a nap is. Will
like
save
take a
you.
nap ain't gonna pay this rent, baby. I'm gonna wake up and they still gonna put that note on my door.
My mama a nurse. She don't even. She be telling all her patients, just take a nap.
But I was telling my mom, I was like, you know, Black women are raised to be very strong, and we can bounce back pretty fast. But I learned from my own self that you can run out of resilience.
Of course.
And when you are a Black woman and you run out of resilience, since we are taught and raised to keep going, you're confused. I had that moment happen to me in LA because I was always a hustler. Like I was always like, okay, if that don't work, cool, I'm gonna do this. If they say no here, cool, I'm gonna do this. I was definitely like just trailblazing when I came here. I had hit a wall probably in 2018.
Okay.
I hit a wall. I had definitely had a lot of ups and downs in my career, you know, getting the no's and the rejections, and then it was like relationship stuff. And I was like burned out, and I didn't really understand what that meant because I was so used to being pushing through. And so I was very confused, and I was like very like depressed, and I wasn't sure what to do with it until, of course, a white friend of mine was like, maybe you should look into therapy. And then when I did, I realized that it was like I needed to give myself much more mental self-care and give myself, you know, a break and be like, okay, it's okay that you don't know. It's okay that you feel down. That's okay. Like maybe you do need to like take a moment away from the industry and the stage
and reset.
And so, yeah, as far as, you know, my health goes, that's been my major thing.
Do you have a preference over the gender and race of your therapist?
I used to, but in LA, everybody messed up, so you're gonna be waiting for a while.
Yeah. I had 3
I've been
therapists.
one. You do?
I had 3. The first therapist, I was so messed up that he would fall asleep on me, and I didn't even care. I just kept talking. It was
Not
like the
fall
time.
asleep. What is
he
this,
would-
Medi-Cal?
No, he fell
'Cause
asleep.
you know.
And he said he would make excuses, right? He would make excuses and be like, "Oh, he had sinus issues, or he was on medication."
I had that happen to me with a therapist.
It was
and
an
I fired
older,
her real hard.
No, but I needed therapy so much. I didn't fire him. I just kept going and just talked until the
I don't
timer
play no
ran
games
out.
about my mental health.
But I didn't know that because I didn't have no boundaries. And then when I said boundaries,
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I needed to be there because when I like mentioned to him, I was like, yo, like you falling asleep on me while I'm in therapy, and he was like, oh, I'm so happy that you finally, stood up for yourself.
Now he fell asleep to teach you a lesson. Child. Lord.
Like, no, I don't think he fell asleep to teach me unless he was old. And he
Well,
did.
I had a lady that I loved, and she was great. And this is I learned a lot about like your growth in your process of when you are changing mentally and healing.
Yeah.
Like I had this therapist that she was cool, and then like probably like last year she fell asleep and slept through our session.
Oh, no.
I called her and was like, ma'am, this will be the last time you will ever talk to me again. I let her have it. I just, to me, I feel like when you start growing and you start healing,
you start
your
setting
boundaries
boundaries. I was looking at, and then look, so I think, like I said, I was so messed up that I just talked until it was time to go.
Right.
And then so I started to learn, and then I was like, you falling asleep. I want a new therapist. And they couldn't give me one because there wasn't none. And then.
That's why I was like, it don't matter to me what
during
they
the
look
pandemic, then during the pandemic, we would talk on the phone, and the phone would just drop. He would just fall asleep on the phone.
Child, what is this? How old was he?
He old. Oh, he wound up passing later. But I was like, I guess I was like, I guess he gave me the lesson I needed, because I was like, yo, you falling asleep, yo. Like,
Yeah.
And now I have a black male therapist, and
That's incredible.
I love him. Like, I want to get into his personal life, but it ain't my place. I want to be like, so you married? I want to be like, so,
and I try to.
so we can both be healthy together.
I just got a male therapist too, because at first I had a woman, but I've always had white women.
Yeah.
I've never been lucky enough to get.
I asked
a
him, man.
black
I was like, I want a
therapist.
black male. I Googled, because the relationships be the issues for
Yeah.
me. I Googled, what's the best type of therapist for relationship issues?
Yeah.
And they said opposite sex of what you are, or the relationship you want to be stronger with.
Yeah.
And then they also were like, and I'm just like, I need a black man. So I could be like, I can say this shit, or I could say, like,
My therapist is
bust it wide open. I could say
Yeah,
stuff.
bust it wide open, but
like
you
that's
like, I
how I
need to use some
talk.
slang
Yeah,
terms.
so he knows, so I don't have to censor myself or explain.
I keep looking,
Girl,
I gotta keep looking.
I would give you man, but I ain't trying to share him.
No,
I'm being
do your
possessed. No,
thing.
I'm joking.
I'm still on
I'm
like a
joking.
bunch of lists. I feel like LA, you be on the list for a long time, and they'll finally call you, and you like, hello, who's it? But yeah, I that's as far as medical goes. I've been lucky enough to be healthy in life. I mean, I work out a lot.
What made you go to therapy? And I know you said that
My original,
Yeah, there was some issue like driving. I don't know, was it driving?
no.
Anger?
So no, that's another girl. I got something. No, my original reason for going to therapy, it was a really dramatic story that happened when I first moved to LA. We had a break-in my mom's house in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And my
Sorry.
stepfather was murdered.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was real dramatic.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, but I'm fine now. And then at that time, I just kept having nightmares, and my mother was like murdered in the scene because it was a really dramatic scene. Like they broke into our house, and my mother, locked herself in a room, and just it was a whole thing. So like that, I kept having bad dreams. So that was like my first introduction
Okay.
to therapy. And then after that, I had a broken
PTSD.
engagement. Yeah, I had PTSD for like a couple years. And then I stopped because it was like it was fine. But then I went back because I had a broken engagement. And
The relationships will
me
take
down.
you all the way down.
that one took me down.
You'd be like,
But you know what? That was the best lesson I could have ever gotten in my life. And I never thought I would say that. In the midst of when that was happening, I was super mad at God. My prayers was like, first of all, bitch. It was like super angry.
I'll be like, don't do me like that. I got something for you. Just stay hanging there.
Listen, I turned out to be the most beautiful person after that because it was a good learning experience for me.
How you call God a bitch?
I definitely
though?
was turning up on him. I was definitely on my knees like, so today, motherfucker.
But at least you was praying. He was like, you gonna humble yourself?
I was mad. I was upset, and I was just like, you know how you feel at the breakup. You're like, why me? Like, what is this? But later on, I learned that there was so much that I needed to learn about myself through that breakup. so many things I need to fix, so many things I need to like learn about what I wanted in a relationship. It was so much that I didn't see about myself at that time that needed to happen. And then after that, it was like, of course, you know, God, he be tripping, or the universe, he be like, yeah, more lessons. Here you go. So everybody I dated.
Like, yeah, I'm learning the same lesson again.
There were like, I tell people this, like after the broken engagement, I learned a lot about like self-care and like all kind of stuff that I needed to like flush out from daddy issues and all kind of stuff. And then when I started dating, they were mirror matches.
Okay.
I kept dating men that were like reflections of parts of me that needed healing.
Okay.
And
come on, healed.
Yeah, and I started learning like, okay, you can't be like this if you gonna look for this type of man, and you can't be like this if you expect this. And like after that, I like I say now, my relationship is much more healthier and much more like what I started receiving after that, or what would approach me after those healing processes were just completely different, and you noticed it. Yeah. And even now in my new relationship, I'm learning stuff from that. Like you just become so aware of like things in your process of healing. But yeah.
Okay. What's next? And then where can we find you?
You can always find me on social media. That right now has been my little place of like putting out my comedy, since I don't really like being outside that much no more. I'll be on, like, I'm like turning up on TikTok. Okay. Like I'm like having a good time, and I got my little fan base. So you can find me on everything Fatimah Taliah. I am on season 2 of Killing It, so I've been shooting that for the last 2 months. Okay. We are on our last week this week, and so I don't know. I don't know when that comes out. I don't know how it works, but doing that, and I'm slowly getting back out.
Tony's a cute, my love is pure. Tony's a cute, my love is pure.
Show your love for Taquita Love. Comedy is pure.
But as always, you want this. I had one dude was like, hey, you think you could bring a brother the clear machine home? Not the clear machine. He was like, yeah, ma, you know, the revival. Clear.